This episode of the Walt podcast is brought to you by Spotify for podcasters. You want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it everywhere and even earn money. I am a long-time podcaster. I've been podcasting for a long time, since like 2009 or something like that. And Spotify for Podcasters is easily the easiest podcasting platform I have ever used. Not only is it easy, it's also completely free. And you can actually make money on this thing by putting in ads just like this. It's awesome. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. I'm recording this while sitting on a toilet. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Once again, it is totally free. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started.
The people of Wakanda fight to protect their home from intervening world powers as they mourn the death of King T'Challa. There is a chicken and a cat fight as well.
Welcome to the Walt Vault with Andre,
Michelle,
Emily,
And Luis.
We are a family-friendly podcast where each and every week we watch and review a different Disney movie. Be sure to subscribe on all podcast platforms and YouTube. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the Walt Vault,
my goodness.
episode 193.
Hi guys.
Sorry,
Wait, 190. We're almost at 200.
That is correct.
What?
It's coming up.
It looked like he had a bee in his mouth, everyone.
I was buffering for a second. Excuse me. So sorry.
We definitely have slow internet here.
What's going on, guys?
Hello. It's summertime. Summertime.
Summertime. That's right.
I don't know the rest of the words.
Time to sit back and rewind. Okay.
Time to sit back and rewind.
This week, we are talking about the 2022 live-action Marvel film Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
I have not seen this movie poster. That's sick.
Oh, yeah, I downloaded this one for the...
Wakanda forever.
It's got like Shuri and the Wakandans up top, and then it has Namor and the
Talokan.
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
Talokan on the bottom.
They're living in the upside down, just like in...
The show. They're in the upside down.
Mm-hmm.
That's sick.
Dude, that reminds me.
I kept thinking of Stranger Things.
There's this Mexican corridos artist, or I don't know what he is, honestly. But, he's definitely one of those, like, Gen Zers in terms of Mexican regional music. They call him Peso Pluma. And he has pretty much the exact same haircut as that kid from Stranger Things, Will.
Oh, like the bowl cut?
Yeah, the bowl mullet cut, and like they had a picture of both of them side to side, and it was like that scene where Tobey Maguire's putting on the glasses, like what, they look exactly the same.
That's
They're
so
pointing at
funny.
each other like the spider guys.
Yes.
That is very funny. Look at this picture there. It's Peso Pluma.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Watch, I'll send you guys a thing
Them bangs are hard.
Oh, yeah.
It's still pretty fresh.
I actually kept thinking of Stranger Things, though, watching this, because there was a lot of synth music in it.
Oh.
Which, in the first movie, which I'm sorry, I'm going to go
There
into...
you go, I'm sending it to you.
I'm going to start the conversation because the music in the first movie was just banger after banger after banger.
Right.
And this one was much more, it was much more mellow, obviously, but it was more of a soundtrack. Not a soundtrack. It was more of a...
More film score than soundtrack.
Thank you. There you go.
Yes.
And so I was thinking about that as I was watching it the second time. It was very different.
It is. I agree with you.
And so it had like some beats, but there was nothing like super hard.
Well, because Andre and I would listen to the first album on repeat.
The soundtrack, which is all of the songs, most of which for the first movie were done by Kendrick Lamar.
Yes.
He gathered up a group of artists, and they all made songs for the album for the first movie. The second movie, they definitely did not do that. They put it together more like a traditional soundtrack, and nothing really stood out except for Rihanna, of course.
Riri on the track.
Riri, the real Riri.
We got lots of Riris in this movie.
I was telling Andre that Riri's my Beyonce. Like everyone's like, Beyonce, Beyonce. I'm like, I like Rihanna.
You and Luis.
Yeah, that's your Beyonce.
Dude.
Wow, we agree on something for once.
Riri should have stayed with her former boyfriend, if you ask me.
Oh, you don't like ASAP?
Nah, they're a cute little family. I'm not gonna lie.
Her kid's freaking adorable.
Yeah, they're a cute little family, but I still think the one that got away is the other one.
I don't even remember who the other one was.
But
he's talking about Chris Brown. Is that who you're talking about?
no.
No.
Oh my gosh, no.
No, dude.
You know who was really cute, Rihanna? That
dude.
cute old Chris Brown. Whatever happened to him? Why did they break up?
She was dating
Shut up.
she was dating this pretty successful Middle Eastern businessman.
Oh.
Prince. I think it might have been a prince. I don't know exactly what country.
Right. That's cool.
But I thought they made a cute couple.
Lots of money. She's like,
Well-
you know what? I make more money than you. I'm tired of sending out.
One time I took Andre.
And
to
in
see
reality,
Rihanna.
didn't need his money because she is rolling in it.
Oh yeah,
Fancy.
she a BA. I took Andre to see Rihanna once when we first started dating.
It was awesome.
It was great.
Changed my life.
Did it?
You married.
It was really fun. That's true.
That's true.
Change your
Let's
life.
go ahead and get into our.
Oh, speaking of, hold on, Luis. Luis was so excited when they talked about her makeup.
Oh, that was funny.
Wait, whose makeup?
Heck of funny.
Okoye was wearing Fenty.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yes,
I was
yes,
like,
yes.
That Rihanna don't mess around with her stuff.
That's right. She
You
got the
seen
right
her at
color.
the Super Bowl? She be pulling out her Fenty. She was like,
That's right.
That's branding right there.
yeah, I was branding.
That's right.
Anywho,
I'm sorry, I went on
you know
a
what?
full
Actually,
tangent.
we have a new segment.
Uh-oh.
Okay. No more battles and no more Louis asked a question.
No
I
more
don't
battles.
know.
What? Dude, you take it from 0 to 60. Nobody said no more Louis
Right.
asked a question. No one
More
said those words.
Battles.
No one said those words.
More Louis asked a question. Now it's unpopular opinions. You want to be popular? Not with this opinion.
Whoa. Whoa.
Oh, we're really excited about this new segment, you guys.
Whoa.
Very excited. All kinds of noises are coming out of us. I don't know if that picked up or not, but I'm going to leave it in. Anyway,
Whoa.
unpopular opinion. What's the segment, dear? Hit us with it.
Whoa.
I'm not ready.
Man.
Luis, you can go. We'll just listen while you.
Nah. You guys already don't listen to me while I talk. I let y'all laugh.
I was really
Big crickets
committed
over
to
here.
the new segment song, okay?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was really good, too.
Thank you.
I completely remember.
Michelle, control yourself.
I can't, man. I've always been this way, you know me.
This movie was directed by Ryan
I
Coogler.
am who I am, and I be who I be. Wait, he has to give us.
That's right. I was just stalling for time. Sorry.
Okay, we're ready.
Go ahead, sir.
I've been
All right.
dying for a minute over here.
So how does this work, please?
Well, I'm just going to say, a statement, unpopular opinion, and give the statement, and you say yes or no.
Okay, if we
Okay.
if we agree with it.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. Okay.
Pretty much.
Hold on, my dog is attacked.
My dax.
My
My dax attacks.
Hey,
Dag.
you,
My
you,
dag.
you like dags? What?
My dags.
You like
Johnny
dags?
dags.
What are you talking about? You like dags? Oh, you mean dogs? Yeah. Nah,
You and
sorry.
I are the only people who have seen that movie in the whole universe.
Nah, shout out to anybody who's seen the movie Snatch.
Oh, Snatch. There's a lot. I watched that movie one time, and I probably understood about 25% of the words that were said in that movie because the accents are thick.
Oh, yeah. Freaking Brad Pitter's over there with a gypsy accent, man.
Yeah, I
It
gotta,
was good
I
though.
gotta watch
Really,
it
really
with
good.
subtitles. Anyway,
All right.
unpopular opinion. Hit us.
All right, unpopular opinion. Okay, y'all are ready?
We are ready.
Will Ferrell has a better voice than John Legend.
Oh,
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell
Will Ferrell.
from Step Brothers.
Nah, I'm joking. Nah, I'm joking.
Ferrell.
Pharrell Williams.
Pharrell Williams has a better.
Whoa, wait. Have we done? Has anyone mentioned this before?
Yeah, he texted it to us the other day.
I know, but
Will Ferrell, Pharrell Williams.
Yeah, I didn't get the first name and last name that they're both Pharrell, Will Ferrell, Will Ferrell, forever.
We're all Pharrellium forever.
No.
You're making me stutter.
But for real though, Pharrell Williams has a better voice than John Legend.
Because I'm happy clapping.
Disagree.
Okay. What do you think?
I have a conversation.
It's a yes or no.
Okay.
We're just ordinary people.
You said better voice.
Better voice.
We don't know.
I will not agree with that statement, but I have qualifiers for musicianship.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Yes or no?
Singer, he said.
No, better voice.
Just voice.
Better voice? I disagree. John Legend has the better voice.
Okay. And this is an unpopular opinion.
Oh, that's it. I thought you were gonna like rapid fire at us or something.
I know you got more.
No, just one.
Oh, just the one.
Just one for now. I mean, I
won't lie. I feel like
my head.
that's kind of a
Okay.
crap segment.
You
if there's
want another
literally
one?
one
Yeah,
question.
another one.
God,
All right.
God,
Let me
Luis.
compute.
Can I give?
Nope. Me.
Like I have one. Like I have.
Let Louise buffer.
Okay. He's doing that Bailey thing.
Oh yeah.
Finding Dory.
Chick-fil-A
Which is Ty
chicken
Burrell.
sandwich is better than Popeye's chicken sandwich.
I disagree.
I'm gonna need some more data on this one. Actually,
I don't have enough data. I've never had the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
I've had them both, but I'm hungry right now. We could get a DoorDash order going, right?
Dude,
I'm kidding.
Chick-fil-A's
Just so everybody knows, Chick-fil-A is literally 40 minutes away from us right now.
Chick-fil-A's overrated.
I think
Because the line's always too long.
You're overrated,
I
Michelle.
just don't want to wait in the line. That's why.
but you'll go to Dutch Bros and wait in the line?
No, every time we go to Chick-fil-A, I swear we wait an hour.
Chick-fil-A's
Dutch Bros.
I've never had that problem.
So I've gone in twice in the last week, and we walked in and we got out with like 10 teenager orders within 10 minutes.
Oh, nice. So I guess we
pretty
got to
good.
get in.
It's comparable to an In-N-Out. I would say I like Popeyes more. The chicken sandwich in particular, I will give to Popeyes. Yes.
I don't have enough data.
Okay.
She can't compute.
Okay.
I'd love it if I could get 2 sandwiches and a blind
At once.
and then just go to town and figure it out. But
Maybe we'll do that one day.
okay.
Okay. Now, this is for all you mamas out there. Okay.
Okay.
Unpopular opinion. Kevin Costner is a more Disney daddy than
I'm going to need you to pick up some pictures here, brah.
I'm on it.
Dennis Quaid.
Okay.
I'm going to say no because Dennis Quaid is the daddy, okay?
Kevin Costner.
Isn't he like...
He was the one from McFarland, USA.
Yeah,
Absolutely
no.
not. It's Daddy Quaid.
Yeah, I have to agree with the ladies on this one, Lou. It's definitely Daddy Quaid over Kevin Costner.
Yeah, no.
Daddy Quaid. Daddy Quaid.
Kevin Costner might be like Uncle Costner, it's Daddy Quaid and Uncle Costner. I don't know.
All right, I got one last one.
Uncle Costner.
Unpopular opinion. In season 3, which we haven't seen, but going 3 seasons deep,
Into.
Baby Yoda is weighing down the whole universe of The Mandalorian.
You think he's like the worst part of the show?
Not the worst part, but it's keeping
him from moving forward?
The Mandalorian from being the Mandalorian.
This is a hard decision.
Disagree.
Again, unpopular opinion. So
Baby
you say no. Andre, what do you say?
Yoda is life.
And we're looking at it more in terms of like focusing on the Mandalorian. Like it's weighing
you
him
haven't seen
down
season
from
3, though.
getting to where he needs to go, where his people need to go.
You gotta watch season 3.
Yeah, we don't have enough info. Okay,
We do. We're
you
seasons deep.
and I do not have enough information
Hey,
based on what has been given out.
Right.
Agree.
Having seen season 3,
Disagree.
I disagree with that.
But having
opinion.
seen 2 seasons, I would agree with that statement that it's the Baby Yoda show and not the Mandalorian.
As was Boba Fett.
Right.
It was the Mandalorian show.
Mandalorian show.
I didn't know
And not the
unpopular
Boba Fett
opinion.
show.
That's everybody's opinion.
So, okay. I don't have enough information to answer that question.
Like at this point, it should not even be the Mandalorian.
Like with what Michelle just said, based on 2 seasons worth of Mandalorian, I would agree with that, because once Mando was in the Book of Boba Fett, he was the Mandalorian, right? He was like hot business doing his thing. So I would agree in that respect based on the information we have.
2 seasons deep, I'm not gonna lie to you, Yoda's not the best thing for me in the show.
You need to back it up. Grogu is...
Even though Ollie's Grogu...
He's a national icon.
Even though Ollie
he's an international icon.
Watch your mouth, Luis. How dare
I'm old
you.
school, dude. I love freaking Boba Fett. I love the whole idea of Mandalore. And you're just robbing away from Mandalore by keeping this little...
All right, we're going to have this conversation after you watch season 3.
Right.
We will have this conversation again in the fall.
Michelle, it's not going to change. I can tell you right now.
But I think it will change.
How much you want to bet it won't change? And I'm not just going to say it. I'm a man of my word. I will say the truth.
Well, I guess it'll depend on how you...
your stinky shoes.
Interpret.
That's my bet.
Okay.
That's just...
Like, I want to see more of, like, this conflict with woman Boba Fett. And,
Bo-Katan.
freaking, Black Katana.
Luis, I'm trying not to spoil season 3 for you, but you have to watch season 3.
I mean, y'all need to see.
Because
I'm not good at
your issues are being addressed. That's all that I will say. Everything that you have said.
The only way that it's going to be addressed is if they literally drop him off at the babysitters for the entire season.
Bro, everything you're saying will be addressed.
All right.
I'm telling you.
I don't know how many more times he needs to say it without saying it.
How that I'm covering my face so that I don't ruin it.
I'm binging that tonight.
Michelle literally put the whole pillow over her face so she didn't ruin it, which I appreciate, Michelle, because you are the best ruiner on the planet.
You are a pretty good spoiler.
Yeah.
Like you are.
I won't even lie.
You have an award.
I can't keep secrets.
In the worst.
She gave me my Father's Day gifts 2 weeks ago.
Hey.
Oh yeah,
Father's Day is in 3 days.
I'm surprised you didn't squeeze out a tooth after trying to.
Like he coming up the mic as if I couldn't hear him, but I
They couldn't hear me. Someone preserved their dignity.
I am sweating. Put on the fan, please.
Everybody toots. Okay, we're gonna go into our first impression.
First impressions.
I heard him toot one time.
I heard him.
Toot toot, beep beep.
I heard him toot one time.
Freak out. Toot toot. You go ahead and give your first impression.
Yes. Okay. So.
We're going back to Wakanda forever.
Yes, Wakanda, Black Panther. Wakanda
I forgot
forever.
what we were doing.
Seriously.
2022.
If we have new listeners, I'm real sorry.
Michelle and I, we went to see it in the theater. When I saw it in the theater, and usually I don't even have to say this, but obviously full spoilers going ahead. When I saw it in the theater, I was like, I don't know if I like all of the choices that they made. I saw it. It was an enjoyable movie, but I am still questioning the whole T'Challa dying, Shuri becoming the Black Panther, Okoye wearing a dumb-looking suit. I was questioning a lot of things.
Dude, didn't that suit look like that one character from
Predator.
Love and Water? You remember that weird movie?
The Fish Man?
Yes. The one where they asked her, "How do you?" And all she did was.
Yeah, The Shape of Water, where a lady
is such a weird movie.
falls in love with a fish man, and he is not gorgeous.
That was so
Doesn't
scary.
it look just like that, dude?
That's so funny.
That and a mixture of those little weird mermaid
Harry Potter
babies
things.
from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, but also Predator because she had that hair.
Anyway, all of that going in the first time, it just left me feeling fairly conflicted on how I felt about the movie. After watching it this second time at home, I enjoyed it a lot more. I liked basically everything that they did. I've come to terms with that T'Challa's not being recast. Really, they're moving the story forward and not trying to keep it stagnant. Even though Chadwick Boseman died.
I almost freaking threw this table over and didn't really comprehend what you said. I'm like, they can't recast him, homie. He's gone.
No.
But no. Like I thought No, I understand what you meant. Like, they're not gonna get someone else to be T'Challa.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Correct.
Yes. That's.
For a split second, my mind was like, dude, they can't bring him back.
Hold on. Pause it. Pause right here. Andre, did you want, like, in your, okay, stop. Out of the cinematic realm, okay, take it out of like the actual features of like what they could do with CGI and stuff.
Right.
In your heart, did you want them to recast him?
In my, when Chadwick Boseman died, right, it was very sudden for everybody on Earth, including everyone who works at Marvel.
Right.
Right. Nobody knew except like his immediate family. Or
I think Coogler knew.
I
think he
did.
did.
I don't know. He was crying in the documentary I watched. I don't know if he knew. But so it was so shocking and so sudden that I wasn't surprised that they, didn't come out and go like, all right, well, Black Panther's dead. We're just gonna get a new Black Panther. It's Anthony Mackie. He's been promoted or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't surprised by that. But
Anthony Mackie.
yeah, I'm joking.
He's joking.
But
Who's that?
That's Falcon.
Thank God. Oh my
Oh
God.
my gosh, that would have.
But in my brain, it's like, okay, we've had 7 Batmans, 4 Supermans, 6.5 Spider-Mans. Like,
Okay.
I am surprised that they didn't just recast so we could have T'Challa, the Black Panther, be the character in Black Panther 2.
Okay.
That-
I can see that perspective.
That's what I was thinking, and even going into it this second time, I was like, I missed T'Challa, and I think that is kind of the point of this movie and its messaging to the world is that like he's gone, and we all just kind of have to deal with it, and this is us dealing with it.
I feel like it was so. I mean, I'm sure this is going to be a huge piece of the conversation, but I was. Okay, we've watched it. Have you watched it twice?
Twice.
Yeah.
We've watched it twice as well, and I have the same feelings as you overall, with like the second time being just immensely better. But in my heart of hearts, I would have been so mad had they recast him because I think that they did an absolutely beautiful job honoring Chadwick in this movie because they didn't they upheld the memory of the Black Panther and pretty much it was an homage to him, right?
Yes.
Everything that they said about it was immediate. Nobody knew. He suffered in silence. It just, the whole thing was a really good, I don't know, a parallel to
tribute or dedication.
It was beautiful, I think.
Yeah.
So I think it would have actually done a disservice to his memory had they recast him.
And I think the MCU is really good about mirroring reality. It's not pure fantasy, these Marvel movies, even though there are crazy fantastical things happening. Like even the blip, the snap all happening at like the same time as COVID. It feels like it's like mirroring
it's kind of weird,
reality, So I think in that sense that you're right. They made the absolute best choice in just mirroring reality and removing this man from the equation basically and saying, well, where do we go now?
Yeah.
And I loved having everyone mourn him.
Yes.
Like that, I
From
kind
the very
of wish.
beginning of the movie.
Yes, I kind of wish though that we would have seen more characters like from the MCU.
Oh yeah.
Mourning him during that. I mean, and it could have been like really quick.
Sure.
But like seeing Doctor Strange, seeing
everybody.
Anthony Mackie, Bucky, like seeing everybody kind of like just shock. Like you see their face and they're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
But neither here nor there. It was nice to see our characters.
So I also agree in that I enjoyed this movie upon the second viewing more. But I think it's also hard because, with any sequel, when the first movie is a different vibe from the second. Because you go into the movie thinking that the vibe is going to match the first. That's just me.
Sure.
Like, Guardians is kind of good with that. Like, each movie kind of has a similar
Matches the
vibe,
of
right?
the previous
Similar.
one. Sure.
Yeah.
This one,
Except for all the other
not really.
representations of them. And we'll talk about that on
Yeah.
the Guardians episode.
but you know what I mean? Like, you can I can watch a Captain America movie and it's a Captain America movie.
Sure.
But this one, it was two different vibes. But it was okay. The second viewing, I mean, we'll talk about Namor, but he just absolutely steals the show to me. But what I didn't agree with, and I guess we can argue or discuss this, is I didn't like Shuri becoming the Black Panther. And I still am not a huge fan of it upon the second viewing. Because I don't think she really wants to uphold that mantle or anything. Like, M'Baku is Black Panther to me. And I mean, I don't know if that's what's going to necessarily happen in some of the next ones. But and even on the second viewing, I was like, okay, well, let's see how I feel about it this time.
Sure.
With her becoming the Black Panther. And it still just didn't really fit. I didn't feel like she's the Black Panther, and I still don't, in a way.
So I'm going to respond to that, but then I need Luis to jump in because he, after first viewing, had a very specific feeling. And he was like just so fervent about it. He was annoying me. And I'm interested in hearing what he has to say on the second part.
Okay.
So, but in relation to that, my hope and my prayer is that she relinquishes the mantle because now she recreated the herb.
Correct.
So anybody and their mother could be the Black Panther, right?
Right.
But I would like to see her relinquish it because she did what she needed to as queen. Like, what do you call that? Like crown?
As the crown princess?
Yeah, like the crown princess, like interim queen.
Yeah.
So she did what she needed to do, like as ruler of the country.
Right.
But now, like, she could relinquish it and go and her and Riri stuff.
Her and Riri.
Which I would rather see.
Agreed.
Riri.
Well, and I'm interested to see if they'll go the route of like how they do with Talakan, right? So going with that story, they all took the herb, like all those people.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just like the one royal person becomes the Black. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they could go a lot of routes with it, but even still,
M'Baku is the Black Panther. Okay.
even still upon this viewing, she doesn't embody or feel like what the Black Panther would feel like for me. She did what she had to do. I absolutely agree with that. But it still just didn't, like if I'm outside and I see her as Black Panther, like at Avengers Campus, I'm not like, cool, the Black Panther.
No, it doesn't have the same vibe.
Correct.
100.
Luis.
I hated the idea of her being the Black Panther. I wanted it to be somebody else, but then after watching this movie, it can't be anybody else. If she relinquishes, then there should be no Black Panther.
Why?
Well, because there's no other Black Panther besides T'Challa.
So you're going with bloodlines?
And in that sense, yes. The only other person...
Even though people can challenge for it?
Yeah. The only other person that would be worthy of it would have been the one person that T'Challa loved. And truthfully, I feel like T'Challa probably loved Shuri above all of them.
But like Emily said, culturally, someone can challenge for the throne and then they would become the Black Panther.
You know, like M'Baku would have been the Black Panther had he won.
The embodiment of Black Panther, she doesn't represent it, right?
In my opinion.
If she doesn't represent it, then no one else will.
Well, I don't agree with that
should.
particular.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
But
You know?
I hear what you're saying about is that who T'Challa would relinquish it to,
No,
knowing
that's not
that
what
he
I'm
was going to
saying.
die?
I'm saying the only one worthy of it right now would be her because of how close they were. And that's my rationale.
Okay.
Like him passing it on.
Yeah.
But
Well-
like, does it matter who T'Challa wanted? Like, no offense to him, but like,
It
just
doesn't.
because T'Chaka, like, just because he was T'Chaka's son is why he was like given the mantle.
Right.
But he didn't
Yeah, but he still got
particularly.
challenged at first.
Yeah.
The reason why I say yes is because in my eyes, in that first movie, he corrected all the wrongs of the previous Black Panthers. He fixed
The
bloodline. He cut the, I don't know, there's a certain term. He broke the cycle.
There you go.
Therefore, he
Like purified
it.
Like purified
You
the Black
know?
Panther.
Yes, and in that sense, like, Shuri was going down that path, but she didn't. Okay.
Right.
And not to say that M'Baku wouldn't have, because you kind of get that sense from him that he too would have done kind of like what T'Challa would. But like I don't know. That's why I think even, yeah, if she gives it up, it should be gone completely.
Well, fine. I'll do an
He's the only person in the world who thinks that, though.
And most of it is just there's not going to be another T'Challa.
There's another unpopular opinion from Luis.
Well, no, I have another unpopular opinion.
Hold on, pause it. But we're missing the part where you were livid at the end of the movie.
I relive it.
The first time?
Remind me?
The first time we watched it, he was like, I hated that Shuri. She literally said
Yeah.
Shuri was awful.
like it.
He literally said Shuri was awful the entire movie.
I didn't like it at first, and like I probably got it a little bit more this time around. It's because I just thought she didn't value it.
I still feel like that.
She doesn't. And I'll agree with you in that sense, but it's kind of like, dude, look beyond yourself. Like your brother did. And that's kind of where I'm like thinking.
Could you hear that?
She could get there.
On the recording.
Uh-huh.
What?
I will say.
Because she's Gen Z.
Oh.
Well, them youngins, you don't know how no work ethic.
Back in my day.
My unpopular opinion, then, kind of piggybacking off of this, is that Killmonger to me embodied the Black Panther more than Shuri.
Oh, hell no.
Okay.
I'm Team
That
Devil's
is deep.
Advocate on Killmonger.
Oh, I love myself. You could ask Ems. I love myself and BJ all day.
He came on screen and I was like, boom!
I have been
There it
following him
is.
since
So
he
cool
was
that he came
throwing
back.
those leather footballs in Texas.
He's
Friday Night
radical.
Lights.
He's definitely
Okay.
radical, but I will do Team Devil's Advocate for Killmonger. And I really like that conversation he had with Shuri, like, own up to it. What are you talking? Like, you know she was there for
What you wanna
vengeance.
do?
And he's trying to call her out on
Sure.
it. You know?
But I don't think he would have made a better Black Panther.
No, I don't mean like he would have been a better ruler
No, but
of Wakanda.
But he had like the
passion.
The passion
yes.
for it.
Yes. Was he a
I
good
too
ruler
don't-
of Wakanda?
Was it a bad passion?
Hey, he's
Yes.
in my opinion though, I don't think he gave 2 cents about Black Panther.
No, he did. He
I
really.
don't think he cared about it. He just cared about correcting an injustice. He didn't care how.
I don't think he cared about the mantle.
No,
at
that's
all.
why he
No, that's
burned
what
the
I'm saying.
herb.
He wasn't a good ruler.
He burned the herb because he didn't really care about it.
He just
Yes, he
needed-
wanted to be the only one, but he didn't care enough about it to allow it to continue.
He just needed that power to follow his agenda.
It's like an ends to him.
Well, she had her
means
own
to an
agenda
end.
too.
There you go.
They both had their own agenda. Shuri had her own agenda with what she was doing as the Black Panther. It was
And let's be honest.
a lot of vengeance.
Let's
for
be
sure.
honest. At this point, the only argument y'all can make for different Black Panthers is M'Baku.
Yeah, absolutely. I
That's the only
100%
argument.
agree with that.
Or one of our Dora.
I would like
Right.
to. That'd be cool if they challenged each other for the throne.
That
right?
is
that would
like-
be cool.
Okay, now you can tell me, did they in the first movie? I remember the Dora being there,
Yeah,
but
they're
I
there.
don't remember having their own like
I don't-
spot on the rock.
I don't think they are.
They did.
a tribe within Wakanda.
But they were up in the.
They were up there.
no, they were
They
there.
were hanging out.
But I don't remember them like this time. They looked like they had their spot.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, and
They
and
did
if
have
you
a spot
think
because
about
then they
it-
got down there. They walked down when M'Baku came, so they were there with their own spot.
I remember them being there, like standing around the water circle. But this time, to me, it looked like if there was like a half sunrise, they were like part of the pie.
Yeah.
I agree,
don't-
but I think it might be just because they're really trying to figure out what the heck to do in Wakanda
Right.
right
I don't
now.
know the Wakandan laws, but I don't necessarily.
Why not?
Yeah,
You
you're
telling
right.
me you're
You're
not
right.
a Wakandan
I gotta go back
professor?
to Wakanda Law School. But
Wakandanomics.
but I don't know. I don't know
Wakandology.
if
Wakanda.
the
I'm
Dora,
done with you.
if any member of the Dora Milaje would step out of their role as a military figure and go, you know what, I'm going to challenge this next king.
Probably
and
not.
take their job. It seems like it doesn't
like
have
a
any
contradiction
no
of their
decorum
duty.
from the Dora Milaje.
Yeah. But that would be cool, though.
But yeah, that would be cool. So in my mind, once again, before going to see that first viewing, I had a couple of options because Disney had already announced that they were not going to recast T'Challa and that a new person would be the Black Panther. It was kind of in spoiler territory as to who it would go to. But signs
Because once you saw the trailer, it looked like a female body.
Signs were pointing to Shuri or a female,
or Nakia.
Right. Yeah. So I was thinking that it definitely could be Nakia. Right. She could have rolled up and challenged when T'Challa went up if she really wanted to or whatever. And that it definitely could be M'Baku. It definitely could be Shuri. So those three things were all possibilities for me. And then I think in this movie they do an interesting job of lulling you out of it, because the Black Panther and even the idea of Shuri becoming the Black Panther doesn't show up until an hour and a half into this movie.
Which I'm okay with.
Which is very interesting. They make a very compelling story
outside of the Black Panther.
Completely outside of all of that Black Panther stuff. So by the time she's ready to start recreating the heart-shaped herb, it's just oh, yeah, I mean, sure, yeah, I guess you can take it. Why not?
It's funny that you say that, though, because that first hour and a half, we paused there, between days as we were watching it, and I was like, oh my God, there's still a whole nother hour. But
it dips.
It's a good story. Don't get me wrong, but it's slow.
Yes.
It's compelling, right? But it's also slow. And of course, I like the stuff with Riri Williams. I like the stuff with, what are they called? The
Talokan.
Talokan, thank you. I like the story, but I felt like it wasn't moving. I don't know. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say.
This movie had a lot of...
It's a different vibe.
Well, yes, it had to change its vibe, and it had to answer a lot of questions and set a lot of things up before it could even get to the Black Panther stuff, right? We're okay, we have to deal with Chadwick for the first act, basically. We have to go through all of that. And then we have to set up our villain because he is so freaking fascinating and interesting and cool.
We got to get into him because...
he deserves a whole lot of screen time.
He was the entire act, too.
And then they have to, Wakanda has to go to war with Talokan, and then we can get to somebody being Black Panther, a.k.a. Shuri, which is great. And also, Riri Williams is here, and Angela Bassett is here, and we're
Angela Bassett's
a whole bunch
of stuff. And my favorite, what's his name?
White dude.
Agent
the
Everett
colonizer.
Colonizer. My favorite colonizer.
Oh, that was so good.
He is. He's the best. I love him.
Colonizer in chains.
Colonizer in chains. So let's go ahead and... You know what's interesting is that this episode's coming out on Juneteenth. Anyways. We could release it on Juneteenth if we feel
That's
like
a good idea.
Let's do it.
Might as well.
For sure.
Okay. Surprise.
Oh, cool.
My favorite colonizer in
let's
chains.
get into our villain, right? So there's no Killmonger. But Wakanda is now public, per se.
And they're in a weaker position
right?
because they've lost their leader.
They've lost their leader and they've lost their protector. And now we are a public country. And vibranium is public.
And it's a hot
What
topic.
do you mean by
It's a
this
hot
word
topic.
public, homie?
Well,
Nobody knew who they were.
before the first movie started, the country, the real country, was a secret completely, right? They thought that Wakanda was a third world
Like a
country.
poor,
I was like,
farming.
what? All of a sudden, Wakanda went up into the stock market?
Bro,
Is that what
they're-
you're trying to say?
they're
Yeah, they did.
Basically.
Risen, absolutely,
Yeah.
and everybody wants a piece of them. And
Yeah, they all want a piece, and they all want the vibranium, okay? The CIA wants it, France wants it, whatever. All these things want it, okay? Because of that, Riri made a vibranium tracker as a project because she's like a freaking genius. She's very cute, by the way. I like her a
I
lot.
love her.
But
Williams,
because
good
of the tracker, now everybody's looking for vibranium. Turns out Wakanda's not the only place with a substance like that, which makes sense to me.
It was very interesting,
Right.
Because the whole cool first CGI scene in the first Black Panther movie sets up that a meteor landed. It landed here in the heart of Africa. These tribes found it. They protected it, and this is all that we got.
Which is true.
Which is absolutely true, but also definitely a possibility that another piece of meteor went anywhere else in the world.
And that was kind of my original like gripe with that first, not with the first movie, but my thought was like, there's just no way
It's just all here.
that it just was right there and there was no other break off.
And then can you correct me if I'm wrong? Like the comics, is it just those two nations? Is there more?
Well, so in the comics, Vibranium and Namor not associated with one
Oh,
another.
okay.
You know,
It's only a cinematic universe thing.
Yeah, in the comics, Namor is a mutant, much more like X-Men style.
Oh, okay.
But he does live underwater with a whole kingdom of other fish peoples down there, and it's
Okay.
very more
Okay.
Atlantis, Aquaman.
But I like that this herb is different than the Wakandan herb, right? It's like
Yeah.
a blue plant. It's different, has different qualities. So because of this, it gets
Technically the exact same qualities, homie. Because it
Yes.
comes from the vibranium infusion from...
yeah, but this one makes them able to go underwater.
Yeah, I think the difference is how they interact with the people who take them, because the vibranium in the Talokan area landed in the water and went into a water plant, and that's what they used to drink out of. It gave them more water enhanced abilities, breathing underwater, swimming fast,
But
turning
the
blue.
strength powers and everything, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So it's almost just like a different tundra. You know what I mean? Okay, so then Namor just comes out because this ship is trying to find whatever this vibranium is, right? And I just about lost my damn mind. He's insane.
When the Talokan first show up and
Oh,
they
yeah.
start singing and people start jumping
I was
out.
and
like,
they
oh
straight
my
up
God.
sirens.
They were sirening.
very
was cool.
scary,
It
very
was
cool.
terrifying, honestly. That's scary. And then when he takes down that freaking helicopter, I was like, okay, who is this fool?
Have you guys watched the TV show? Now I can't even remember what it was called, but it was 19 something. Like, and it's on Netflix. It was like 1927 or something
Oh,
with
okay.
a name
Like
with
a
a year. And something very similar happened where there's like an event and
1922.
there you go. Very good TV show if you haven't seen it. But there's an event like that where people start walking off the edge and literally like hundreds of people are just going off the edge of this big ship.
Crazy.
And that was really impactful. I really liked the way they did that. It was scary, but I also feel like it was underutilized. Like they could have done a lot more with those siren, like those characters were not the ones who came out and fought.
Right.
Which I feel like that would have been cool to see them coming closer to the boat and then them climb up and do
Yeah,
it.
they have like
Sirens-
a different army.
The sirens like to hang out backstage. They're like, sirens, you're on a five, thank you, five. And then the sirens pop out of the water, start singing, and they do their bit.
Yeah, they're very,
do their bit.
they're very cool enhanced beings. And what turned me off from the trailer was him flying with his stupid feather feet, and I was like, that's weird. But then in the movie, I was like, oh, thank God it wasn't
It was so cool.
like you could. Yeah, it's cool now, but I'm sorry. But when I saw the trailer and his feather feet, I was like, what the?
I don't think I saw that trailer because I was hiding from every trailer possible.
You didn't
Yeah,
notice
I
the
was
feather
like,
feet
well, okay,
beforehand.
what are we, friggin' Achilles up in here?
I thought he was Achilles. I won't even lie.
It's very, it's very Greek. It's very, who's that? Hermes is the like the speedster of the,
Well,
of the
and-
Greek.
It was Hermes and Achilles like put together.
Yes.
And him telling,
But that's weird because it's Greek versus like ancient
because this is like
Mayan.
Mayan. Yeah, this is like Mayan.
Yes.
But I really I think one of my favorite scenes from the movie is when he's just telling the backstory of his people.
Sick. It was
really,
so good.
It's really good. And I
Very
don't
cool.
know if I've seen that actor in anything.
He's a narco.
Oh, he's a serious
He
narcos.
tells me I need to keep
Telling you.
watching
Yeah.
Luis just rewatched it this weekend. Well, over the last week while I wasn't here. So he's on another
whole
narcos
show?
binge.
The
whole
actor's-
Colombia and the whole Mexico.
Oh snap! The actor's name is Tenoch Huerta.
Well, he was legit.
And yes,
he did
he's
very
fantastic.
good. Charismatic.
And I really, I think that Talokan and Namor are the best parts of this movie.
100%.
I would agree.
Just in the fact that so Namor from the comics, he's
Is he just like Aquaman?
he's similar to to the guy that we see in this movie. He's like, kind of bad, kind of good. He's really smart, rules a kingdom, but also in the comics he's like in love with the Invisible Woman from the Fantastic Four, so he kidnaps her a bunch of times. And, and also he's in the Illuminati with Professor X and Doctor Strange and Iron Man and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that they did in this that I really appreciated to incorporate all of that like Mesoamerican culture with the character of Namor. And like you said, the scenes where he's describing how his family came to be and how his kingdom
the slavery
came to
be.
And it was so cool and so well done.
And I like how he got his name. That was sick.
Oh my God, that was awesome.
Namor.
That was
no
awesome.
love, Namor.
Yeah,
I was like,
the child without love. Oh, friggin' awesome. And yeah, once again, that did not come from the comics at all.
He has a very good narrated voice too, because when he's saying that, I'm locked in. When he's
I'm locked in.
Dude,
his poor
eyes
mama.
and his look is so crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Lou,
He has that. I did a lot of drugs in the 1980s into the 90s in Mexico. Look.
Okay, Narcos.
you can watch on Narcos on Netflix available now.
I'm gonna watch it, man. That guy is so funny in that one.
As a Spanish speaker, when he's saying,
I asked this question.
El Niño Sin Namor. Did that make sense that his name is?
I don't know
Namor?
where the NA comes from. That's a little broken.
Like
Sin
nah,
Namor.
like no.
Because it's
Nah is, unless it's somehow Mayan.
Oh, okay.
Nah is Mayan.
Well, I asked him
It
multiple
has
times,
nothing
like,
in
do you
Spanish.
understand what they're saying? And he said no.
right because when they're speaking the Mayan language, when it's blue, that's definitely that's not Spanish.
That language is probably older than Spanish.
Right.
Yeah,
Sure.
That's like.
I just was interested because sometimes you can like find
Oh no.
like
like
the
origin.
yeah,
Well,
because you know how like we have lots
you
of
can find it in certain like Latin languages is because they're all close.
right.
You had a whole ocean between this other language.
Mm-hmm.
That never touched any type
Yeah.
All
of
the Romance languages, they all hung out. They're all in
Yeah.
Europe, and then they just spread out from there, right? But yeah, everything else on the other continents is completely different. Which
That makes sense.
Which is very cool.
But like, can we pause here though because this is kind of part of that. Luis had a really cool.
I had a theory.
He had a theory that he actually disproved himself, but the
Yeah.
theory was
That
cool.
was pretty solid.
He was like,
One rock,
oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
one vibranium rock hit Pangea.
Do we all know about
That was saying
Pangea?
Wakanda was
Oh,
on
that's
thinking
interesting.
it was on the western side. However,
Pangea was once the whole world
Yeah.
was one continent.
yeah,
Correct.
and Africa would have been touching the Yucatan Peninsula if
Yes,
my mind
because
serves it correctly.
they like fit together.
Beautifully.
Oh,
But-
that's so cool.
But she, Emily, discovered the Xhosa language that they speak is
In Wakanda.
native to the eastern side of Africa. So if we were going to
I
assume
see.
that the language they speak is native to the area of where Wakanda would be, Wakanda would be on the eastern side of Africa, and that does not touch anywhere where the Yucatan Peninsula is.
That's true.
So
But
here's
that-
my question though. When they show Wakanda on the map in the MCU, is it in the eastern part? Because I had to look up if their
I don't
language
know.
was
Is there a
actually.
map that shows it?
It does.
That's a great question, and I don't even know the answer. Whenever I picture Wakanda, it is smack dab
Right in the
center
middle.
of Africa.
Me too.
Well, that's because
But-
you just think of the continent, so you're like, it's in the middle,
Exactly.
right? You know.
But I swear they put like a zoomed in on Wakanda in maybe the first. What do you call it?
Black Panther
In
movie.
the first Black
Or maybe
Panther
in,
movie?
like Civil War or something like that when they were looking
Oh
at,
yeah,
looking
yeah,
at
yeah.
stuff.
It might have been that.
Where is Wakanda located in Africa? According to this map,
Wakanda has been depicted as being East Africa.
Okay.
It is located in sub-Saharan Africa.
So then that would make sense with the language itself, because I wanted to know if it was a real African language or not, and it
Yes.
is.
So it's on the
speaking
east.
Xhosa.
So yeah, it's not. My theory is.
But I did like that
But,
theory.
and the theory still, stands in that one rock coming down, a piece splits off, one goes here, one goes there.
It's-
That's it
I
could've
mean,
hit
plate
Pangea
tectonics.
and-
The rock could have just chilled in that plate and just took half of the rock, like.
It said in the MCU, Wakanda is located just north of Lake Turkana at a point bordering Kenya, Ethiopia, Uganda, and South Sudan. So it's like in
kind
a
of in,
like a little pinpoint. Yeah, so
Right, but yeah, on the eastern side.
All right.
Okay, we're figuring stuff out here, guys.
Geography. Geography and geology.
That's right, rocks.
Rockin'.
Although it says that director Ryan Coogler stated that his depiction of Wakanda in the film Black Panther is inspired by the southern African kingdom of Lesotho.
Okay.
I don't know.
Lesotho, which is in like Nigeria.
So maybe that
Only
goes with
The
your theory
western
more.
side. of Africa.
And it's
Pretty sure
cinematic
Lesotho
universe
is in
different
Nigeria.
than comic universe, unfortunately.
And different than real universe.
Exactly.
But I do like that idea because it makes it a little bit more,
Like
I guess-
a single event
yes.
caused these two cultures to
Negative. Lesotho is actually no. Lesotho is in South Africa, the eastern
Africa?
side of South Africa.
All right.
So what you read, Michelle, is the MCU explanation. What M's discovered makes a little bit more sense because of what Michael Kugler thinks that it's more of the Lesotho area, which would be South Africa, which would be the where your language is
Right.
more native in that area.
Yeah.
Because what you read is higher up, like higher up here, Michelle, and then what Emily read and Kugler think is kind of over here.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Still
We're literally pulling up maps
we got
of Africa
maps.
people.
Fictional place.
Best fictional place in the real world.
But yes, I think overall the creation of the Talokan in this movie is one of the best parts of the movie, and every time they cut down to that world, I'm having a very good time down there. It's very cool.
It reminded me, and I don't mean to bring it down, but it does remind me of Harry Potter a little bit when they're in the Black Lake. Black Lake?
Yeah. The lake.
When they go down there and they have all those little
The Grindylos and the
Grindylos. It kind of reminds me of that, obviously on a huge scale because it's a full. What do you call that? Obviously on a huge scale.
Right, the Grindylos. But I was looking at a documentary on this movie, and Ryan Coogler was stating that a lot of the underwater stuff that they shot was very practical. So they had people diving in the tanks, they were swimming around, they were holding their breath for minutes and minutes at a time. I think Tino Huerta, who played Namor, he said he can hold his breath for like 6 minutes. Just from training for this movie, because he has to do a lot of his scenes underwater. They put him down there, he pops his goggles off, mess up his hair, and then he acts, which is crazy.
Like, what a
And then he comes up and takes a breath, and they say cut. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
A very similar process to what they did on Avatar 2, by the way, apparently. We'll talk about that on a future show. So yeah, I really appreciated all the underwater stuff and their whole underwater world. At one point he's like, yeah, I built a sun for my people, even though we are at like the bottom of the ocean and it should be completely dark down here. That's the power of vibranium, man. It can just do anything.
And I built it with my watery non-webbed hands.
Yeah. Non-webbed hand, feathery feet.
Oh, you know what's so sick? And I didn't notice it last time, is that when they're above water, they blue. When they're underwater, they're people.
Yes.
I mean, obvious, and they just talk normally.
Opposite Luca.
Yes, it's opposite.
Yeah.
It's Luca. And the like oxygen when their skin touches it, the I don't know what the science is behind this, but it turns blue. I don't know how, but I guess it's like when you can't breathe and you're like choking and you're starting to turn purple. That's just the state,
Immediate.
That's just the state of their skin when they're above water.
And I love that their oxygen masks are water masks. That's so sick.
That's very cool. Yeah, I like all the Talokan vibranium technology.
They did it. They did it right.
It was very cool.
And I did say it's very primitive.
Yeah.
Like, their vibranium weapons are not like pew pew.
Right.
You know?
They don't
It's
shoot
like
energy blasts like
just knives and daggers.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Which
And super strength. Like, you're gonna go up against Okoye like that?
yeah.
Whoa.
Okoye was great in this movie. Okay, I don't think we've mentioned her at all, but like,
I felt some major feels, dude.
she was fantastic. She goes in, she's fighting these dudes off. Shuri gets kidnapped by them, and then she has to go tell Shuri's mom that they kidnapped her daughter, and Shuri's mom was like, "You're tired, bud. And Okoye's like, this is my entire life. This is all that I live for. All I live for is for Wakanda. You can't take this away from me.
I won't even lie to you. I was so shocked in that scene. I literally was like, well, I guess the movie's over. Like, I don't even care. Shuri's gone, but Okoye is gone. So
they're both giving like fantastic performances in that scene where Okoye is just like bawling her eyes out. And she, as soon as she said you'll be stripped of your rank and your spear or whatever, and like her eyes start watering and she looks like a little girl. She's like, oh, you can't take it from me. You know, it's crazy. And then Ramonda, Angela Bassett, is like, they took everything from me. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, lady.
Angela Bassett did it in this movie. Her hair was scowy.
Angela got her groove back once again.
Woo, man, she did it.
She really did it.
She even died well.
I know.
Like, she just did it.
She was awesome throughout the entire movie. It is very sad when she dies towards the end. But, you know, Kukulkan, he warned her. He's like, hey, I have more soldiers than you have blades of grass in your entire country. And I was like, oh.
That was pretty legit.
I was like, woo.
That's a lot of soldiers, dude. We got a lot of grass over here.
We have grasslands.
Yeah, this is the whole grassland. We're in Africa. You know how much grass we got?
Can we talk about what was stupid?
Yes.
Go ahead, Lou. We both were like, that was so dumb. You did not need to do that.
What? Oh yeah, dude. When they're going back into, I don't know where they came from, but when they're going through the river
border.
Nation to get back into Wakanda, the way they open up the gates, they just slap some water. Like, are you kidding me?
Wait a second.
That was the lamest way you could possibly do it.
Now, okay, let me explain the
slapping water.
Let me explain the science of vibranium. Okay, it's
slappable.
It's sonic based, right? It's all boom, 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 boom sounds. You know, Captain America's shield, it can block any vibration that hits it because of the sonics related into the circular shape of the shield. So when homie is slapping this water, bing, bap, bap, slap, slap. That sends out the signal to open the gates. It makes perfect sense to me. I don't know what you're.
It looked so dumb.
You couldn't have slapped the back of your hand under the water and then brought whatever water in a cup and then let it spill down and create ripples. You had to slap the water.
The moment you guys are talking about it, it's so funny because it's so small. But like they do focus on this guy and
so
like
dumb.
The thing rises up and you can see the water on it and he's just like.
So dumb.
Even if he did one slap, okay, but he did like a whole little bongo, and I was like, God.
That's the code. He entered the code to open the gates, okay? Leave his water keyboard alone.
But they've never done that before. They just always fly straight into Wakanda, and later in the movie, they fly straight in.
Right.
Like,
you know, sometimes the ships, they lose their clearance codes. He's got to let them in manually. He's like, let me open the vault gate door with my code real quick.
So dumb. It was dumb. It was dumb. Oh my. Louis, like, and the first time I don't remember it, but we both looked at each other this time like, are you serious?
Silly.
Are you serious? Anywho.
Quite silly. I understand. That's very funny.
Also, there were a couple times, I suppose we should get into Riri moments.
Sure.
But there was a couple times where Luis and I are like...
Riri made a couple of one-liners that did not really need to be made.
Okay.
Like, they were just useless.
I'm trying to think. Because, like, she comes in and she's definitely the
it's
more
like that
comic
one
relief
friend who's
character.
trying really, really hard and trying to make everybody laugh. And
Right.
it's like, nah, dude, calm down.
Chill out.
She doesn't need to be the quipper.
We didn't bring you here because you're funny.
We brought you here because of your brain. Okay,
we didn't bring you here to make jokes. Like, you don't need to be doing that.
Build us some machines, lady. Wait, do you remember which lines?
It had to. They were in
the dorm.
No, they were not. They were in the underwater jail.
Okay.
And she said something like, "Oh, you stop." God, it was something like, "Oh, they can't protect me. You only can't protect me now that I'm here," or something. I don't know.
About like, y'all stop having Black Panthers when I need protection.
Right,
something like that. It's like,
this ain't all about you, Riri.
You just got here. Ain't nobody care about your protection yet.
We didn't even know you existed.
Well, what was that term? You squib? No,
He's a squib,
that's
Riri.
not what I'm thinking.
Your time will come. Oh my gosh, though. Okay, move it back on her.
I just felt sometimes she was trying a little too hard.
Sure.
I really, really did like her character. Like the actress did a really great job. Have we seen her in anything else?
I don't think so.
Obviously not MCU, but have we seen her in...
I had not seen her in anything before this movie, and now, of course, I can't find her name. A moment. Her name is Dominique Thorne, and she has been in some other stuff. Like If Beale Street Could Talk, Judas and the Black Messiah, and
all right, I'll be watching that.
And that is it. So she was in those two movies before Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
So nothing.
But those movies, I believe both of them did very well. I think Judas and the Black Messiah was like an HBO Max original thing or something like that, but it had quite good reviews. I didn't watch it, so I don't remember. I don't know her performance in it or whatever, but I liked her a lot in this. I think overall, the character of Riri Williams in the comics is very, very new. Like, she probably was created in like 2018 or something like that. So very, very recent. And she's basically, just a young, smart black girl who looked up to Tony Stark.
Did they call her Ironheart in there?
Yeah,
okay.
In the comics. And
they showed like that. Not the name, but they showed her like cut the heart out of the iron,
which is pretty cool. But in the comics, the one differential thing is that she starts building this suit, and at the same time, like Tony Stark dies in the comics, but he has like a Jarvis style AI of himself that he's written, and she acquires that and puts a Tony Stark AI in her Ironheart suit. So that's kind of the thing that ties them together the most, is that she's constantly talking to Tony, and he's helping her out with all of her missions and superhero stuff.
Can you freaking imagine?
Yes, that would be wild. In this movie, they had Griot, who is the Wakandan AI that they have in their suits
Jarvis.
and whatnot. Yeah, the Wakandan Jarvis. And, he didn't have a ton of character to himself or whatever, but I obviously it would be too expensive to have Robert Downey Jr. come in and voice Tony Stark.
They already paid him out,
right,
bro.
Yeah,
bye.
Like, we're done. You've been separated. Bye. So Riri in this, I like her character. I think I enjoy her quips most of the time. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes they didn't all.
They were a little too much sometimes.
Girl, we don't need another funny character.
I didn't really
Seriously.
love either iteration of her suit. Like, I felt like they had an opportunity to show us something like really cool and new
And streamlined.
like an Iron Man suit for a young woman as opposed to Tony or whatever.
It
They
looks like
didn't
the
really-
first iteration of the Iron Man suit, and it was clunky.
Which makes sense. She's young, she's in college, she doesn't have the resources that Tony Stark had or whatever. But then once she gets to Wakanda and she builds her suit there, and she's obviously using vibranium and stuff like that, I was waiting for her to show off something that was like completely brand new that only she could think of, and couldn't have been in a Tony Stark suit before. And that didn't really happen. She had a little Gatling gun that shot some little pew pews, and then
That did a whole lot of nothing.
She boosted her feet a couple times, and that was about it.
She did some Tinkerbells.
Right. So I think overall her character, her time on screen out of that suit, I enjoyed a lot. I do wish that they had brought a little bit more to the table with her in an action sense, but whatever. She's getting a whole show, so I guess they'll.
We had suit problems in this movie.
Yes.
Okay. This whole
The Midnight Angel.
I wanted to throw up. Explain to me what the Midnight Angel even does, because it was random.
It's very weird, right? So in the comics, the suit exists. The Dora Milaje do wear it. It's like their secret ops suits that just a couple of them have. I think like Okoye and Aneka, and they're like partners and maybe even lovers sometimes in the comics, and they go out on like secret missions. So I think overall the design is supposed to be like a stealth thing, but that definitely didn't come across in this. It's bright
Listeners,
blue.
I wish you could see my face right now. What? A stealth thing?
I believe so.
If anybody saw this, they would be like, oh, I remember exactly what that was.
I'm never gonna forget this suit. It's got bug eyes
and nasty hair. Why did it have hair?
Let me
Medusa hairs.
Let me read this short thing on the history. This is from the comics of the first Midnight Angels. The first group of Dora Milaje were highly trained wet work or assassination specialists and were assigned to work with Deadpool during the Doom War between Dr. Doom and Wakanda. These Midnight Angels used specialized non-vibranium equipment to avoid Doom's control, his having discovered the connection between vibranium and his own magic. So I think the suits were specifically designed anti-vibranium to fight magic, and that's the design that they chose to put in this movie and not attribute any of that other stuff to it. And, it ended up looking ugly. And they even make a joke in the movie, like, these suits keep getting uglier and uglier.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do this. You didn't have to put this in the movie. You could have changed it. I would have been fine. All the comics nerds, we would have been fine if you didn't have to throw the Midnight Angels on us. But yeah, it's basically just a Wakandan Iron Man suit. And that's another thing that I think annoyed me, is that, like, okay, so Shuri developed this Iron Man style suit over here for Okoye, and then Riri is developing this Wakandan armor Iron Man style suit for herself, and there's
no
they
connection.
They didn't visually show me any difference between them. Aside from how ugly one is. Like, what are the powers? I wasn't recording the song. We're back. You didn't know we were gone, but we're back. Let's move on to the central conflict of the second half of the movie, which is that Namor wants to join up with Wakanda to defeat the rest of the world's nations so that they never have the opportunity to come and take vibranium from either of them. That's what he wants. He wants to take over the world with Wakanda's help, vibranium first. Nations,
Killmonger without the oppression.
Yes, exactly. And so Shuri, who is the proxy princess at this point, she is denying this. She does not want it. And while Namor has her and Riri captive, Nakia is enlisted to go take them back. She infiltrates Talokan, takes Shuri and Riri back to Wakanda, and that is when Namor decides to attack Wakanda. He goes there with all his soldiers, more than the grass. He got a whole bunch of soldiers, and they rip it up pretty good. They have a fight there. He ambushes them. He sets water bombs all along the city and whatnot.
Dude, those water bombs.
The water bombs. Crazy. The water bombs are crazy because, like, have you ever been playing with a pressure washer and got hit with it or whatever?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Just like that, the force times 10,000 and
have you ever
blasting open in the face.
Really good wave?
Right.
It's almost like it's the Shuri's kinetic energy. It almost feels like that.
Yes.
Like the explosion of it all. And water is so destructive.
Water is terrifying.
Water's crazy.
Just saying, you guys
Very
know.
scary.
I didn't realize how destructive they were until the Angela Bassett scene with Riri, because it took an entire... What do you call it? It took an entire tower-like building and turned it into a lake, ocean.
Yes. He threw a bunch of water bombs through the windows. It burst open and then filled that place to the brim with water, so much so that Ramonda drowned. That's how she died.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Which I told Luis, I said, it's so crazy because if you think about it, shut up, Trey. Why are you so
say that into the mic. You just stop talking mid-sentence to look at my baby.
I get out of here, Trey. It's so annoying how cute he is, listeners. I honestly can't even look at him.
I know. It's interrupting the podcast.
God.
What, dude? You had your meal? I'm having mine.
I said I'll take some.
Yeah, he's looking at Luis's yogurt right now.
Some of that gurt, bro.
Anywho, it's almost like Ramonda and T'Chaka were taken out in the same way. Like through an explosion through the window.
That's kind of crazy.
Explosions.
Yeah.
And then Luis was like, yeah, but she actually drowned. And that is true.
Right.
But like...
we could say King T'Chaka drowned in his own blood from the internal bleeding.
I mean, I guess.
He didn't... he didn't die from the blast, but...
Right. Because he was still halfway alive there. Said a parting word or something to T'Challa. But yeah, you're right. They did die in kind of the same fashion. Both
But
parents.
the way in which Ramonda... Is it Ramonda or Ramonda?
I think Ramonda.
Ramonda.
Yeah.
Means
Okay.
Ramonda.
The way in which she reacts to Riri in this whole scene
Right.
is what clinches it for Riri, which is awesome.
Yes, because I mean, Ramonda behaves just like a mother. She puts Riri behind her and protects her as best as she can while she's being attacked by.
And I really like how when Killmonger was there, he was like, she was trying to say, what did he say? The Lost Tribe. Your mother died saving the Lost Tribe, or the Lost.
Right. I don't remember exactly what he was saying.
Lost Tribe. I think he's pretty much kind of saying like anyone outside of Africa is a lost tribe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Anyone outside of Wakanda.
Yep.
That makes sense.
I will say though that was extra cool because you get zero mention of Riri's mother, right?
Right.
She talks about her dad.
That's true.
Stepdad though.
I don't think she said that.
stepdad.
Well, she says she built the car with her dad, right?
Stepdad.
Yeah.
I don't remember her saying stepdad, but okay, maybe you're right.
But you get zero from a mom.
Right. But then as she is saved by Ramonda and then talks to Shuri about it afterwards, it is the driving force that causes her to actively help Wakanda instead of just, sit by the sidelines, which she could do. She's a 19-year-old American who just got dropped into the middle of a war. She didn't have to help.
No.
Right.
But she wanted to.
And it was for that was cool. Like, and she's going into the battle on the war cruiser. What do you call that? It was like
it
an
was like
American warship.
Yeah, a warship, I think was what we would call it. It was almost like an aircraft
Like a battleship.
carrier.
That's what it was like.
It wasn't carrying no aircraft. It was just...
Yeah, it was like a battleship.
Yeah.
Pretty legit though.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool big boat. So yes, it's at this point when they are attacked that Shuri kind of really kicks it into high gear and decides to recreate the heart-shaped herb using the plant that Namor gave her from under the sea. And
That just popped into my mind.
down here is better, down where it's wetter. And she does that, recreates it, is able to take it, and when you take it, you're supposed to do the ceremony that takes you to the ancestral plane, where you can meet your ancestors and they can give you wisdom before you become the Black Panther.
Right. Which Shuri kind of didn't think was real.
She's very science-minded,
Right.
not faith-based at all. This girl, so she thought that she would probably hallucinate for a couple of minutes and then wake up. When she goes to the ancestral plane, she hopes to meet her mother there. I assume she would probably hope to see her brother or her father as well, who she ends up actually seeing is her cousin Killmonger, Eric
She is
Killmonger.
not happy about that.
And she is not happy at all. She lays into him, and he lays right back into her. He's like, the reason that you're seeing me is because you're not doing this out of the purity of your heart. This is a vengeance-minded decision that you're making, basically.
Yeah, you're literally following in my footsteps.
Right. You're acting a lot more like me than you are like your brother.
That's why I like him, because he's like no BS.
Yes.
He's like,
he lays it
He's
down.
a great character.
And she's trying to deny it, but I think she knows that what he's saying is true.
Infinitely true.
Yes.
Which is what makes her even more mad, you know?
Exactly. She's like, well, fine. If I'm gonna be, mean, then I'm gonna be mean. She wakes up out of the astral plane.
But hold on.
Go ahead.
I want to say that when I think of the ancestral plane, I just think about what T'Challa's was like, which was the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful scenes, I think, in Black Panther or the MCU. How it was kind of like the circle of life,
Absolutely.
when Mufasa's
it's
there,
Mufasa stuff.
and the actual Panthers were Panthers. That was so sick.
Yes.
And then Dad T'Chaka shows up. But then I remembered that when Killmonger took it, he was in his
went to
apartment
his
in
Oakland
Oakland,
apartment.
and saw his dad.
Right.
So this would make sense then that she was in her home.
It's all kind of
relative.
Yes, it's like when Harry Potter goes to King's Cross after he halfway dies. It's not really at King's Cross. He's in a place that his mind recognizes or whatever.
Which I truly hated that scene. But regardless,
Dwight train station.
This is where Voldemort came to die.
There's a crying baby under that bench. Leave him alone. So
jump on a train and take it back.
So Shuri wakes up from the astral plane. She goes to make her suit. She incorporates, and this is like an editorial note for me, I guess. She incorporates the silver that T'Challa would wear, and then also the gold that Killmonger wears into her suit.
In my mind,
it's cool.
The first time I saw it, I was convinced it was Killmonger's suit with upgrades.
Right. That's what I kind of took it as.
I didn't get the silver.
I see.
I saw like all Killmonger's.
Killmonger suit.
The Killmonger suit.
Yes, but it does have more silver than the Killmonger suit did. And also the Killmonger suit, I think it has like some like very subtle cheetah print going on.
Yeah, it did.
Well, which is kind of cool.
It was kind of sexy.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. So yeah, she does that, and she goes to the Jabari lands where M'Baku hails from, because the entirety of Wakanda has like evacuated to the mountains to hide out, just in case the Namor and the Talokan show up again.
Because he's straight up screwed up.
Right. He said
the capital.
I'm leaving. When I come back, you guys can either fight with me or I destroy you all, basically. So they evacuated out there. Shuri goes and shows up in her Black Panther suit. Everybody's like, whoa. And then right here is where I have like a gripe, a problem with the movie, is that when she lands, she's showing off, and her and M'Baku do like a very, 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 very mini challenge where they like arm wrestle in the air for half a second, and then she proves that she's stronger than him, and he's like, you're the Black Panther. That's it. That's all I need.
I know, that was kind of weird.
He just he needed to make sure she was a Black Panther. You know?
I feel like
not like the kind of ash gray Panther. You know.
I feel like they like.
She's not the navy blue panther.
No. Right.
The navy blue panther.
I feel like they like didn't. We don't have time for them to fight. Okay, we gotta keep going. We have to move past this. We don't have time, but
like, because the only reason we know she's the Black Panther is because she like punched a mannequin and the mannequin went flying.
Right.
But like she could have punched M'Baku and M'Baku went flying.
Exactly. Like
or like Okoye or something, like she comes up and is like, and then she's like, Pacha!
She like grabs the spear out of midair while she's
yeah,
something cool like that. But yeah,
I mean, I don't want her to punch, but
any of her friends, yes. But at the same, it felt rushed. It felt like they were like, well, they're gonna want to challenge her, but we don't really have time for that. How about we just do a quick little cool arm wrestle?
It wasn't a cool arm wrestle though.
It wasn't cool. It was like, why are we doing this?
This is all you could come up with.
It was odd.
It was already long. You could have given us like 3 extra minutes
I know.
here.
And then at like the very end, we go to like the waterfall place where the challenge actually happened. I was like, oh snap! They're gonna do it. They didn't do it earlier, but that's okay. They're gonna do it now. And then
they don't do it.
Like, Shuri's not showing up. I was like, oh, okay, so we're not doing it. That's fine.
I love M'Baku though.
That's okay.
I really liked. I'm here to challenge for the mantle,
for the throne,
for the Black Panther,
the Black Panther.
The Black Panther.
Not
I did say like that one guy.
Zuri.
Not unpopular opinion. M'Baku is just the coolest.
Yeah.
Like Wakandan, okay?
Next to Shuri, he literally looks so gigantic.
Oh,
Shuri's
100.
very small,
She's small
and skinny, you know, like her body type. And next to him, I was like, geez. Yeah, he likes shoes.
Okay. She's just playing with shoes. He's doing fine. You might nibble on him a little bit.
Might be stinky, but.
Are those mine or Luis's?
I have no idea.
Are they all black?
They're
yeah, I wouldn't put those near your mouth, buddy. Those are not
He just likes to
aunties.
throw them because they bounce.
That's true.
Hey, cuz.
So
it's his hand suit. That's what we call it. Hand suit.
Shuri convinces them to we're going to take the fight to Telecon. We know how to defeat Namor. We just got to dry him out real quick. Once he doesn't have access to water anymore, he'll be weakened. They take their warship out to the middle of the ocean and lure a trap where the Telecon think that they just started up a new vibranium finding machine or whatever. They find them, spring the trap. They fight. The fight is going well for the most part, and then Shuri takes Namor onto a ship and starts to dry him out and takes him away from the rest of the battle.
And apparently they didn't think that like this raw vibranium, like girl, you so smart you can't get his spear away from him.
Yeah, you know.
Girl.
But that's the thing is that like now they are evenly matched, but Namor is like almost 500 years old. He's been fighting for a long time. And as far as I can tell, Shuri doesn't really have any combat experience. You know, I mean, I assume that she and T'Challa both were like trained as kids coming up or whatever, but like,
She was zipping around on the outside of that ship, though.
which was cool. That was some cool stuff. She was like sliding and with the nails on the ship, and she was jumping off and shooting her little fisty guns or whatever. Those are cool.
Which are, I didn't realize this until you said that, are like a amped up version of her fist cannons in the first movie,
one, yeah.
which was really cool.
That's her weapon of choice, is fist cannons, which is cool.
I liked her daggers for what's that gal's name?
Aneka, one of the other Dora Milaje. Yeah, I like those daggers. Aneka, where is your spear? So they're fighting. The Wakandans on the warship are not doing very well. The Telecon are overrunning them. Meanwhile, Shuri, Namor, he like escapes from the ship that he's being dried out on. They land on a little sandy island, and then they really duke it out there. At one point, Namor stabs her in the gut with his spear, and
she doesn't die.
She doesn't die. A straight up Lion King moment happens where Ramonda appears in the sky, and she's like, Simba, remember who you are. she literally says, show them who you are. You know, that's like her phrase, which is a very, very, very good line, Ramonda. She does that.
Didn't she say that to him too?
She told T'Challa
when
he was doing
the
his
waterfall.
challenge. Show them who you are.
Yeah. She got a one-liner, and it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a cool line. I'm gonna Trey, show them who you are. Yeah, pick up that stick, bite it. Oh, what is a stick?
No, it's better than a dog toy.
Anyway, so this inspires her. She breaks off this spear.
Hold on, major qualm here.
Go ahead, qualm it up.
Dumb. They crash land onto a beach, and he needs water, and there's water.
He's about 20 feet away.
Like literally 5 feet away
there.
from water.
Like Luis and I are like, he should have just done like a little like flyover, a little
Quick
like
dip,
grab
dude.
some water,
Bruh, he
quick
should've
dip.
Picked up some sand, tossed it in her eyes, and then went and took a bath for a second.
Yeah.
And then he would have been back in business. Telecon wins, you know?
Dude, that's all he needed to do. That was kind of ridiculous. Like she could have had like a water evaporator arm gun.
Right, yeah.
And like
That's interesting that she didn't build any of that into her suit. I guess maybe it's not completely possible. I don't know. Little air dryer.
That's what I'm saying.
Button, Michelle.
You know, just take it to the right, to the back.
He's
of the
gonna
neck.
go for it eventually. Thank you.
Didn't happen.
It did not happen. So they duke it out for real.
All kids go for it eventually.
Eventually, Shuri gets the upper hand and has her spear over Namor. She decides not to kill him, and she tells him,
Show him who you are.
who you are. She tells
In your heart. Oh, in him.
She tells
In him heart.
that if if he stops the attack on Wakanda and goes back into the water, she will protect the oceans, she will keep his secrets, she will keep the surface world from attacking Telecon ever, and they will be allies in that way, but just no more fighting, and she'll let him live. And he accepts, and he's like, all right, I guess that's cool.
Good enough for me.
Well, yep, good enough for me. We'll come back for y'all later.
Yeah, I don't know. That was kind of interesting, but all right.
That he took that deal.
I mean, he takes it, but there's no like conditions from him.
I mean, yeah, there's no conditions at the time. We see him in a later scene go back down to Telecon, and he's talking to Namora, the girl who I believe is his daughter.
Who's got healing powers? It sounds like.
I think so, because in the comics there is a Namora who is the daughter of Namor. But in this, I believe it wasn't until like this last scene where
he keeps saying like my child.
Yeah, he called her my child.
But he called all of the people his child.
Maybe
You
they're all
know,
his
he's
kids.
an old man. He might be getting around. He
Like
might
tadpoles.
He might be like the queen bee of the
Technically, they're all
Telecon.
his offspring, right?
A fair amount of them might be his actual offspring. I don't actually know. But he tells her, what does he tell her? He says something like ominous, but now I can't actually remember.
He says something like, well,
Eventually, the surface world is going to attack them, and then
Yeah.
they're going to need us.
Yeah.
Right. They will need us eventually.
End of story right there with that one.
Yeah.
At which point what?
Right.
We'll defeat them then?
I don't know. I don't know, but I do know that I can't wait to see Namor again. Like, I don't know where he's going to show up, in what MCU project, in what context, if he'll be a bad guy or a good guy or whatever. But I need to see this homie a lot more because he's awesome.
Can we back it up? Because he's got these vibes that Director Fontaine would be really happy to acquire with her good bad guys.
Yes, for her bad good guys.
And I won't even lie. I was really surprised to see her.
Walmart Captain America, man. Jeez, I'm so mad about that.
He's coming back, man.
I know he is.
The Thunderbolts is a movie that's going to come out at some point.
God, he
from
was
Marvel.
annoying.
And
But I was surprised to see her.
Director Fontaine.
And so she's a CIA.
She's the CIA director. She's also the ex-wife of Agent Everett Ross, and she's building a superhero team of absolutely horrible people.
Like the equivalent of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and she's like the Nick Fury of Suicide Squad, and
Exactly.
I think that's why I'm confused. So she's the director of the CIA, but she's also putting together this crap task force.
You know, I think in the world post blip, SHIELD is gone, and the Avengers are mostly gone for the most part. They're not like a banded together thing. So I think
They have all these misfit heroes.
so I feel like the American government thinks that they have to have a response, you know, and so their response is to hire her, and she's hiring mostly, it looks like, on the down low, Hawkeye and Walmart Captain America and who else?
Wanda?
Wanda?
No.
White Vision? No.
Romanoff's
Yes,
sister,
yes. Young Black Widow, Florence Pugh,
who we love.
and I think the dad from that movie too, the big red star guy, who was also in Stranger Things. That dude,
Alexi.
yes.
It has to be Alexi.
And then also, I believe Ghost from Ant-Man 2
Right.
is going to be on that team.
My God.
So
She was
Is
so
Sonic
cool.
is Sonic Boom gonna be there too?
I don't think Sonic.
Sonic Boom.
Wait.
The voice,
What?
the one that's with big fatty bald head.
Wait.
Who was in a Hawaiian shirt? I hated that so much.
Wait.
The hand?
Explain
Wait,
what you're
what's his
talking
face? Fisk?
Fisk. That's right.
Echo?
Echo.
That's what I said. Sonic Boom.
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Don't even get me
The guy
started.
that's bald in the Hawaiian shirt.
Don't even get me started with that one. The most inconsequential character getting a show? A movie?
Yeah.
Nah.
She gets a show.
30 seconds in the clip is what she would have gotten in my book.
Here's the deal. Well, we shouldn't go back to that, but that Wilson, I can't even. Don't get me
the
started.
whole-
Hey, you, Baldy.
The whole headline for that show was like, "Hey, Echo, Daredevil might be in it. Come watch it. Come check it out." Anyway, yeah, I think that's the team of Thunderbolts that Director Fontaine is starting to form, and that's going to be her, you know, Avengers team.
It sounds like a
Captain
really.
should be Frank Castle.
Right? Yeah, they're definitely
Oh
going to
my
mess
gosh.
something up. Like something is going to go wrong here.
It
with
sounds
these
like,
people.
truthfully, another Eternals level movie.
Right.
Sounds like Kirkland knockoff Avengers.
Kirkland Avengers.
Walmart, homie.
Yeah, it's definitely a Suicide Squad.
Kirkland has
style
more of
team.
a brand out there.
That's
than,
true.
you know.
Up and up.
The up and up. Good and gather.
Yeah, Target. So yeah, the movie ends with Shuri leaving Wakanda. What else? She hooks up her homie Riri. She rebuilds her car and sends her back home.
Oh yeah, that was dumb too.
Oh yeah, tell him, man.
Not the car
I
thing?
hated that. Like, she would want to go home immediately.
Yes.
And then Shuri's sitting there saying, like, it took me a lot of time to get these pieces out of the river. Like, girl, you were just fighting yesterday.
You know how you've been trapped here in Wakanda? Well, I actually went back to your hometown. I went into the river. I got all your car parts. I brought them back over here to Wakanda. I put them back together, and now you get to go home.
Like, it took you, but nah.
I just was like,
That's true.
It would have made so much more sense if she would have, like, taken it to her in Cambridge. Like, that would have made much more sense.
Yeah, that was just
And it would have been a cooler reveal.
Right. She shows up in her warehouse garage
She
or
visits
whatever.
her,
And it's like,
yeah.
I got a gift for you. And it rolls out.
Yeah.
But whatever. So she does.
Also,
all
we
that.
all expected her to get a suit from Shuri.
Yeah, Shuri was actually, that suit that you built here, you can't take it home. You're gonna have to go build a new suit when you get back home. Sorry about it.
So crappy for
Can't have
her.
my
You
tech.
can't have the vibranium.
I'm taking all of your tech.
Come on, even Iron
Nice
Man gave
try.
Spider-Man a suit.
It wasn't made of vibranium, dog. Sorry.
True.
So she does all that, and then she decides apparently to like take a sabbatical, right? So like Ramonda the Queen has died, leaving Shuri in the position of leadership, I suppose. But it doesn't seem like she has accepted that position of leadership because M'Baku shows up at the challenge waterfall spot, and he's like, Shuri's not coming. I came to challenge, which presumably means he's gonna beat up whoever tries to challenge him and become the king of Wakanda, right?
Which is freaking hilarious.
Which is cool.
But does that mean he would be king? Because I thought the challenge was to become Black Panther. Because you're not immediately king because you're Black Panther.
You know,
Or maybe, maybe you guys were onto something, like maybe they are gonna give him the Black Panther.
yeah, I don't know.
Because the king has technically always been the Black Panther.
Exactly. They go kind of hand in hand. All of the kings of Wakanda have been Black Panthers. I don't necessarily know that every Black Panther of Wakanda has been a king, but they are often the same person, right? So right now
He goes from a Senate meeting to go beat someone up in the Congo and
guys,
comes back out.
I'm getting a call. The Avengers meeting. Sorry about it. We'll have to table this budget meeting for next week or whatever.
Dude with the lip.
With the lip disc.
Lip disc?
Can you imagine if lip disc was
Y'all
the
better
Black
say
Panther?
that slowly, y'all.
Yeah, it sounds like you're saying limp dick.
You didn't have to actually say it. Thank you.
We know what it sounded like, people.
Lip disc Black Panther would be a very interesting suit.
It's a
Terrifying.
gauge. It's just a huge ear gauge.
Lip gauge.
You're gonna look like a platypus.
Bro,
You're gonna be the black
He,
platypus.
he does one of these, go pop, and it pops out, and he throws it, and it comes back like a
It'll be
caterpillar,
the black-
and then it pops it back in.
Black platypus, homie. Y'all have seen a platypus, right? Look up a platypus. The black platypus.
My platypus.
I'm so done.
Travis.
So anyway, that's where my mind is going. I assume that M'Baku will at least be the king of Wakanda, if not also Black Panther. They'll probably have Shuri continue to be Black Panther in whatever next project they end up having them show up in. I don't even know what it would be. Probably the next Avengers movie in a couple of years. But I don't know. For Black Panther 3, I'm not sure exactly where they're going to go with any of that. But then the final wrinkle into all of this is that Shuri goes and visits Nakia, who is living in Haiti. She goes up to Nakia. She's going to perform the rest of this grief ritual, which is to burn her funeral clothes, signifying that her mourning period is over. She does that. The movie ends. The post-credit scene comes up. Nakia walks a little, very cute baby, very
That's
cute
not a
5-year-old,
baby, but-
very cute 5-year-old up to Shuri and goes, Shuri, this is, to saying this is your auntie Shuri, and we realize that T'Challa and Nakia had a baby
Post snap. No, pre snap.
Pre-snap.
before the blip. T'Challa died for 5 years, came back, set them up, and then died again. correct?
Yep.
And he knew that he was dying.
Yes. So that was the thing that also mirrors reality, is that T'Challa also had a secret illness, basically, that he didn't tell anyone about and eventually killed.
That kid is the cutest freaking kid I have ever seen.
Oh, Luis has his hand up.
Lou?
Did y'all catch that kid came out at the very beginning of the movie?
Yes. Because when
I caught it the second time.
when Shuri is asking Nakia, like, did he meet my mother? Nakia says yes, and it's because she did. Earlier in the movie, Ramonda shows up in Haiti to recruit Nakia, and this little kid is like, I'll go get my mom, or whatever.
And
I'll go get Miss Lupita Nyong'o. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
who is also the most beautiful woman.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Listen, Lupita Nyong'o is my Rihanna Beyonce, okay?
Yeah?
I don't know what that means, but I did this thing on
Rihanna
TikTok.
Beyonce.
I did this thing on TikTok the other day that was like a, who would you rather marry? Female celebrities edition. And it kept bringing up people, and as soon as it chose Lupita Nyong'o, she was like the front runner or whatever, so I selected her over every other person that popped up. I was like, Lupita. So, sorry, dear, she's gonna be wife number 2.
Hey, what?
What happened? Never mind.
You should have seen that nasty face over there.
I would definitely be Riri.
Lift me up.
You're seeing Beyonce, though, in a couple months.
That's Rihanna. Oh, I will be seeing Beyonce in concert soonish.
Is Lupita in concert is the question.
Where is that concert
Negative.
at?
Michelle will keep you from that concert. You saw Riri, you saw Beyonce, you see no Lupita.
No, you're not allowed to see Lupita.
No Lupita.
Yeah.
No Lupita.
Tell Daddy, no.
Yeah, you're right to keep me away. Anyway, so basically, the gigantic reveal at the very, very end of this movie is that there is a new T'Challa, because this kid whose name is Toussaint, his Wakandan name is T'Challa. So I don't know.
Technically, he's the next king.
Right, and yes, by virtue, he is like heir to the throne or whatever, right? Game of Thrones style. So like, I don't know where they go in the next movie. Is it gonna deal directly with all of this stuff that happened at the very end of this? Like, M'Baku is king, Shuri is Black Panther, T'Challa, T'Challa as like a player.
M'Baku is going to challenge T'Challa.
That's not fair.
Come here, little boy.
You're not big enough.
He's eating that carrot the whole time he's beating him up.
He is so good.
Yeah, I don't know what they do.
The carrot though. God, he's so good.
I don't know where it goes, but that definitely was a very interestingly touching moment at the end of the post-credit scene where he says, my Wakanda name is T'Challa, and I remember in the theater people starting to tear up. I was like, oh snap, okay, yeah, this is pretty good, right? I don't know. It didn't move me emotionally, personally, that this kid exists.
Oh, see, I really liked it.
I mean, I like it. I don't hate it at all. But like,
the reason I
I'm
like
not
it,
surprised. I mean,
it wasn't like a crazy reveal to you.
nah.
I think the reason I like it, and I think it's from a woman perspective. I'm not saying men wouldn't feel this way too, but like, I always really wanted them to be together.
Right.
Like, I really wanted it. So this shows that even though they weren't like,
that they did kind of end up together.
Yeah, they ended up together, and that he was still, I don't want to say fathering this child, but they were still in a relationship.
He was involved, and yes.
That made me happy to see that they still were together.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, yeah, that is it for Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
I'm so happy that you've stayed with us, people. This is our longest episode in a very long time.
And we didn't even go through the plot traditionally or anything like that.
Yeah, we just went over all of our feelings on things.
Which was pretty good.
Namor.
Namor. Let me go over some money stuff real quick. This movie had a gigantic budget of $250 million.
Million.
Schmillions.
And it had a box office return of $859.2 million. Wow.
I'm gonna say they made some monies.
They definitely made some money. They didn't quite cross their Billy mark that the first Black Panther did. But it's so interesting that the first Black Panther was a cultural phenomenon. It made so much money, and it was a big old middle finger to corporate people who would say that you can't have an all black cast in the movie and stuff like that. So it really hit with a really big boom. And this movie coming out after the death of Chadwick Boseman and during COVID, this movie probably went to Disney Plus 45 days later or something like that. It still did amazingly well in those circumstances.
Yeah.
I don't think it hit as culturally hard as the first one did, but that's a really high bar to have to live up to anyway.
Well, and this one definitely didn't have those themes. That was a central theme to that movie.
Yes, that first movie was very uplifting in that sense, whereas this one is kind of a downer because it starts with death and loss and grief and all that stuff. But that being said, people obviously still enjoyed this film on Rotten Tomatoes.
Hold on, we didn't give our things.
Oh, we haven't rated it.
Rating.
We didn't do the thing that we do on this podcast.
We gotta do the thing.
Tomatoes first.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
we?
That's true. I give their ratings.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I forget what we do.
Me too. On Rotten Tomatoes, this film sits on the tomato meter at 84%. That is certified fresh. It actually has an audience score of 94%. The critics' consensus says a poignant tribute that satisfyingly moves the franchise forward. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever marks an ambitious and emotionally rewarding triumph for the MCU. The audience consensus says Black Panther: Wakanda Forever says a solemn goodbye to one of the MCU's most beloved stars without skimping on the action. So
I would agree with both of those statements, but I feel like the statement of the critics' consensus is better than an 85.
Right.
Based on what they said.
An emotionally rewarding triumph for the MCU.
You can't use the word triumph and give it an 80.
You've got to hit 90.
God.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I am going to give this movie... I think I'm going to give it an 8.5. Where I might have given the first Black Panther a 9.5 or a 10. I think it's an awesome watch. It's very energetic. It's very fun. There's a lot of funny moments. There's a lot of cool action. Namor is a fantastic villain. And it is also very cool in terms of representation for Latinos, Latinx. Yeah, I don't like it either. So I think it has a lot of things going for it. However, I don't think it's quite as rewatchable as the first Black Panther, only because it does really start on that downer of Chadwick Boseman is dead. Remember that he's dead? He died. He's not alive anymore, and it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. We're gonna spend 45 minutes being sad about it. So I think in that sense, it's not quite as enjoyable as the first one, but it is quite a good movie. 8.5.
I'm going to say if this was a Namor movie, I would give it a 9.5 because those parts, like we talked about, were just on a level. I'm going to give this one an 8, and I 100% agree with the watchability factor. Again, I'm going to rewatch it for him.
Right.
And I could start it when it starts with him.
Yeah.
I could start it there and then continue to watch.
Fast forward as he rises out of the water.
Definitely.
Well, and especially because, like I said, when we stopped, I was like, oh my God, there's still a whole nother hour.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I agree with Emily. I'm going to give this movie an 8.
solid 8 though. Not kind of 7.9.
No, yeah.
Right.
Solid 8.
But it's not quite an 8.5, you know what I mean, in my opinion. So I agree. An
8.2 and a half. 8.25.
8 and a quarter.
Thank you.
8 and a quarter. Louis?
8.5.
8.5.
All right. Do you have a Louis ask question?
Nah.
Oh, so it was
It's
just
done.
that. It was just that
It's
one.
the unpopular opinions. We got
Pop.
You wanna be popular?
All right, you guys, that is been it for us this week.
Next week.
Next time on the Walt Vault, we will be talking about another new Marvel film, the 2022. Was it 22? Was it 22? I don't remember years anymore.
I think 20.
The brand new
I don't know.
Marvel film, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
A very good movie.
Also on the D+.
Yes, it is available on Disney Plus now as we're recording. Check that bad boy out and join us in a few short weeks as we talk about that film. If you want to keep up with us in the meantime, check out our social media. We are at the Walt Vault Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Instagram is the one that we pay attention to. Go there. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the second Black Panther film. And what were your favorite parts? Were you disappointed by any of it? Did you agree with us? What is your unpopular opinion? Let us know all of that. You can also send a message to the show. We are contact@thewaltvaultpod.com. We'll read that message on the show. You can support us by just making sure you are subscribed to the pod on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. If you're on YouTube, hit that comment, hit that like, hit that subscribe, do all of the stuff. It helps the algorithm find other Disney fans like yourself. Thank you guys so much for listening. That has been it for us this week. We will see you guys next time for some itty bitty Ant-Man goodness. The vault is now closed.